There are 3 unusual bicep exercises you shouldn't ignore, because if you do, you could be missing out on 50% more gains, because each of these movements will take advantage of one very powerful mechanism. So if you want arms so big that it looks like you can bench 100 kilograms with no hands, you're in the right place. Over the last years, there is more research emerging that if you train your muscle in a more stretched position, like for example stretching your hamstrings by doing seated hamstring curls as opposed to laying down, you're going to probably build more muscle because of something called mechanical tension. In most studies, this focus on stretch even increased muscle growth by at least 50%. And if we apply this to training your arms, you can see that the bicep is stretched the most when the elbow is behind the body. The next exercises actually approach this principle in a slightly different way to vary its effects, but we'll get to that in a moment. So to capitalize on this mechanism, we can do reverse 21s on the incline dumbbell curl, which can emphasize that stretch on the biceps. I discovered what reverse 21s are from Jeff Nippert, and it's basically taking an old bodybuilding technique which is doing regular 21s but making it better. But there are a couple of crucial details I learned over the past few years. Normally with regular 21s you're doing 7 partial reps at the bottom part of the range of motion, then 7 partial reps in the top part, and then 7 full reps. But to target the stretch, it's actually smarter to do them the other way around, finishing with the biceps in the most stretched position when they're fatigued. So reverse 21s are 7 full reps, 7 reps at the top part, and then 7 reps at the bottom part of the range of motion. The first 14 reps are basically initiating reps to fatigue the biceps enough so we can then focus on that stretched position by doing partials there. And I learned that the most important detail in this exercise is to fully extend your arm at the bottom to really milk that stretch, while trying to keep your elbow relatively still, but also allowing it to slightly move forward when you're doing full reps. Now you won't be able to add weight every week, but you still want to progressively overload. I personally do this by adding more partial reps at the bottom end of the range of motion. So instead of doing 7 reps, I do 9 or 10 or 11 and so forth until I'm strong enough to increase the weight. I always do this exercise close or to failure because the biceps tend to recover quite quickly. While reverse incline 21s is a very solid movement, we're going to go back to the basics and make them more stretch focused before finally revealing the most unusual exercise on this list. There is one thing I absolutely dislike about standard dumbbell or even barbell curls. It's so easy to move the weight at the bottom of the movement because the moment arm isn't as great as, for example, in the middle of the movement. And this takes away a lot of tension from the stretched position. The easiest solution would be to use cables. This way there is a lot more tension at the bottom of the movement near the stretch. But you have to absolutely make sure the weight stack is behind you, because otherwise you're making the exercise easier at the bottom, because now the gravity is pulling your hands forward as opposed to back. So using cables seems like a solid method to make these exercises like hammer, dumbbell and barbell curls slightly more effective. While this is a great way to train the biceps, the next exercise is even better in my opinion, but there are a few important tricks you need to pay attention to, because otherwise the movement might lose its effectiveness. You can stretch the biceps in 2 different ways. The first one is bringing the elbow back like with incline curls, but we can also stretch these muscles by bringing the arm behind like this. Behind the cable curls are my favorite and go-to exercise right now, and I learned this exercise from Ryan Humiston. To make this stretch more effective, I found that externally rotating my arm as much as possible really helps, while also turning my torso as far as I can away from my arm. I put the cable slightly below shoulder height because I feel this stretch the most there. Now I don't just use these 3 bicep exercises to get bigger arms. Variation is probably your best friend, so I don't think of these exercises as the holy grail to getting big biceps. These are just meant to add to your exercise toolbox of curls. And even though this will help you build bigger biceps, I found 2 things that can make your lower and upper back weak, which might cause back pain later down the line. So if you want to prevent that, make sure to watch this video right now, or if you want to get the most out of your back and leg workouts, make sure to watch this other video.